Breaking news, Chapel Hill bill closer to the finish line. What sources are sharing about the reported $30 million deal? Then our team coverage continues live on campus with how fans feel. Plus, protests and an arrest at the state legislature today. We'll explain what's next for the power shift that led to the escalation.
The cold air is rushing in. I'll let you know when temperatures are back below freezing.
What a day. We are locked in on three big stories for you tonight. We got Bill Belichick to UNC. That's all but a done deal. The WRAL weather alert day continues, and a protester arrested at the state capitol as lawmakers pass a bill overhauling government power.
We've got to focus on the huge news out of Chapel Hill tonight. The university finalizing a deal with Bill Belichick, the six-time Super Bowl champion, to coach the Tar Heels. Reports from The Athletic say it's a 3-year deal worth $30 million. The yearly salary well above Mac Brown's $5 million. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe. We have team coverage on this tonight. Aaron Thomas is live on Chapel Hill's campus. He's talking to the students about this big potential hire. But let's start with how we got here and what's next. Dan, you've got the right guy with us here in studio to help.
WRAL investigative sports reporter Brian Murphy is here. So this story has been developing all day. I don't need to tell you that. Your phone's been blowing up. You've been working your sources. Give me an idea of what is next. What should we expect?
I think an important milestone in this is going to be the Board of Trustees is going to meet Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. They'll finalize and sign off on this contract. WRAL had learned earlier today that these sources were optimistic this was going to happen today. There would be that Board of Trustees meeting. Took a little longer than expected, but they've gotten it done with Bill Belichick, and somehow the hoodie is coming to Chapel Hill.
Unbelievable. And everybody's been talking about this, obviously. Everybody, even Governor Roy Cooper brought it up today. Well, listen to what he had to say.
To put them in the national conversation, I don't know what the terms of the contract are and all of that, but it'll have people talking about Carolina football.
All right, we know the terms of the contract generally now, but wondering, is he onto something there? Is this becoming more of a conversation about what North Carolina might mean in the college football landscape? Does this change things?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you've seen it just from the coverage of Bill Belichick's hiring. It's a lead story on ESPN. It's on the Today Show. It's crossing over into different audiences. It's not often, almost never, that a multiple-time Super Bowl champion coach goes back to college. Only happened once before. Bill Walsh, famous 49ers coach, went back to Stanford for a couple of years at the end of his career. This changes the entire trajectory, I think, of the program. It's been a middling football program. They've had some highs, they've had some lows, but they haven't won the ACC title since 1980. Belichick immediately infuses, I think, an energy and enthusiasm and probably more importantly, money into the program.
Let's talk money, because of course they're hoping that he's going to generate a ton of money, but he is also generating a ton of money for his pocketbook, right? So he's getting paid a lot. There's also a big conversation about what type of NIL money can be committed to his stay here. Can you give us a little insight on the money part of this?
Sure. I mean, we'll assume that the report is correct. A 3-year contract worth $30 million. So that's just $10 million in salary alone per year. And North Carolina spent about $44 million on their football program last year. And so now that's already a quarter of that is going to Bill Belichick. There will be staff increases. Numbers have been thrown out there, as many as 30 new additional staff members added to football. The NIL budget, which is already going to increase with revenue sharing, is going to go up. I mean, I suspect that Carolina is going to reach out to its donors and to its fans and say, we've made the commitment to get a coach like this. Now you have to make the commitment financially to help support us.
Also, the transfer portal is open. People who might not know, that is where students can literally jump from one team to the next in between seasons. We've seen it happen at other schools. When do you think this news might start impacting that?
Well, I've already heard our high school OT guys here who cover high school football throughout the state have already heard from recruits who say, yeah, I want to talk to Bill Belichick. 4-star recruits here in the state for the class of 26 are already saying, yes, this might have an impact on my decision. I think the transfer portal is going to start right away. One of the North Carolina's starting center was in the transfer portal today. He got out of the transfer portal and says he's coming back to Carolina.
Carolina fans have to be over the moon right now. Appreciate it. Brian, thank you for your reporting.
Oh, there's so much buzz about this. So let's get over to Chapel Hill. WRAL's Aaron Thomas is there. Aaron, you've been taking the temperature on campus about this. How are students reacting?
You know, Ashley, it's worth pointing out that students are in the midst of final exams, but when you have big news like this, a legendary coach on his way to Chapel Hill, of course they'll make time to speak with the media about this big story. I had to text one of my buddies who graduated from UNC just last week about this Belichick news, and he said that he's a little shocked, but he had no idea with Mac Brown on his way out that a legendary coach like Bill Belichick would be making his way in. He says that he's hopeful for a turnaround of the football program, and that's the overall sentiment that we've been getting from current students on campus, including this one student who says that she has ties to the area where Bill Belichick used to coach the Patriots.
I'm excited. I grew up as a Patriots fan. I'm from Massachusetts, so especially with Drake May on the Patriots now, it kind of feels like worlds colliding for me, and I'm excited about it.
And we've seen some important names in North Carolina sports share their thoughts on this possible hire. What have you seen online?
Yeah, so of course we have to revert back to Drake May, who was a current rookie quarterback for the Patriots, the team where Bill Belichick used to coach. Also a star football player at UNC. He reacted to this news just moments before this deal was finalized. He said, quote, "What a great place Chapel Hill is. Anytime you have a legendary NFL coach going back to college, I think it's cool. It's pretty interesting for me." Then you also have Carolina Panthers head football coach Dave Canales, who was saying how it would be amazing to have him close and to try to pick his brain at some point. I mean, of course, it would be great for anybody to jump at the chance to gain a lot of wisdom from someone like Bill Belichick and try to turn their program on the professional level around. But certainly the story has a lot of layers. We're going to be here in Chapel Hill trying to speak with more students as well as other businesses as we prepare for the 2025 college football season here in UNC.
Well, we will wait and see. That Board of Trustees meeting happening tomorrow morning. Lots to follow, Aaron. We've got much more Belichick coverage on WRAL.com and on the WRAL app. The timeline of events since Mac Brown's firing, the possible details of Belichick's deal, and the history of UNC's football coaches. It's all at WRAL.com. Now let's get over to the weather. Been a rainy last couple of days, especially today. Oh, I was out driving, and I know it's a WRAL weather alert day. I was out on the roads anyway, and boy, oh boy, I mean, the ponding was really something today. Fortunately, things are starting to dry up, Kat.
That's great news, and even better news since temperatures are going to be falling near freezing tonight. The wind should help to dry out the roads, but the rain is long gone. This is a live look at the dual Doppler 5000 radar. It's even moved out of most of the coast. Maximum wind gusts today around 41 miles per hour at Rocky Mount, 40 miles per hour in Fayetteville, 36 was the maximum wind gust at RDU there. At the moment, we're still seeing winds gusting 25 to even 28 miles per hour across our area, so it is staying breezy early tonight, but the wind should begin to settle down overnight. But the good news is, you know, those winds help to dry us out because in the morning, temperatures are going to be awfully close to freezing. It's already down to 26 degrees in Boone, 37 in Greensboro. That's what's creeping our direction tonight. Still 59 at Kitty Hawk, but a big temperature crash is on the way for the start of the weekend. We've got a lot going on this weekend, including several parades. I'll have your weekend forecast coming up.
All right, Kat, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center with some breaking news out of Durham. Police say that they have charged someone in connection with a shooting death back in May. This is 25-year-old DeMonte Lewis, charged with several felony counts, including murder and possession of a weapon of mass destruction. This was the scene back on May 21st at a business in the 1500 block of Guest Road in Durham. Police say that Lewis shot and killed Trocon George in that parking lot. He died later. Lewis is in the Durham County Detention Center being held without bond tonight.
Brian, thank you. So the bill that we have been talking about for weeks now is officially law. Tonight, Republicans used their supermajority to push through a bill that combines storm relief and some big shifts in government power. And it was a big group of people who were there at the Capitol to protest this decision, a protest that didn't really change anything. WRAL's Carly Haynes joining us live now from the legislature. We do know one of those protesters was even arrested tonight, Carly.
Right, Dan, this is a controversial law that has brought some of these protests since its inception, and today was no different with that critical vote. As you said, there were about 300 protesters who were present for that vote today. The GOP-led House voted along party lines 72 to 46 with their supermajority to override Governor Cooper's veto of Senate Bill 382. And the Senate voted to override it last week. So with that, it passes. This new law, sponsored by state Republicans, provides millions of dollars in relief money to Western North Carolina after Helene, but it also strips political power from incoming Democrats, mainly Governor-elect Josh Stein and incoming Attorney General Jeff Jackson. That's why some people protested. They were chanting shame. They held signs. The Capitol Police did have to get involved, with one person arrested in the aftermath for resisting arrest and for trespassing. Dan?
So it has been a bit of a journey here. This bill was passed, then vetoed, then that veto. There was the override of that, but it seems as it's still not over. There could be some legal pushback that follows.
Right. This isn't the end of the road for this law. Governor Cooper has previously called it unconstitutional, so it's possible this could end up in court as soon as within the next 24 hours.
All right. Well, we know you'll be watching. Carly reporting live from the state legislature. Appreciate it, Carly.
All right. Well, the news is far from over tonight. We've got a lot more to talk about here on WRAL News at 7. A second arrest in the death of a 7-year-old boy. Police believe they've got the person who pulled the trigger. A Raleigh grocery store owner accused of killing a customer. Why a Gatorade bottle is at the center of it all. And an NC State fraternity could be gone for good. We'll explain why. Stick around. We're back in about 2 minutes.
A big development today after another arrest in the death of a 7-year-old. Also opening statements in the deadly stabbing at a Raleigh grocery store.
Let's roll through some of today's other big headlines. Here are 5 things you should know right now. 20-year-old Antori Porter of Fayetteville is the second person charged in the death of 7-year-old Zion Gibbs. The little boy died in a drive-by shooting earlier this year. He was playing video games. Police say Porter was the one who pulled the trigger. He's charged with first-degree murder. 19-year-old Sierra Chambers has also been arrested. Police believe she drove the vehicle. She is also charged with murder. 6 witnesses took the stand today in the case against a downtown Raleigh supermarket owner. Tasir Zarka is accused of stabbing a customer to death. The medical examiner told the court he stabbed 27-year-old Mark Garrity 3 times. Police say Garrity was trying to put a Gatorade in his bag when Zarka confronted him. Zarka has claimed self-defense. The trial is expected to last through the rest of the week.
The State Board of Education denied attempts by the Republican Party to throw out 60,000 ballots from this year's election. It comes as the party challenges results of a very close race for the state Supreme Court. Democrat Allison Riggs leads Republican Jefferson Griffin by just over 700 votes. That's out of millions. Republicans claim that thousands of ballots were counted improperly, but the State Elections Board, I should say, said there wasn't any evidence of that. Riggs isn't the winner yet. Griffin could still fight the decision in court. We're getting reports about some outages across Facebook and Instagram today. Many users say they were unable to access their accounts. Meta said they're working to get things back to normal as quickly as possible. So far, no word on what caused this to happen. Inflation heated back up again in November. Prices rose 2.7% compared to this time last year. Despite the latest inflation figures, Federal Reserve officials, though, are still likely to cut the borrowing rate by 1/4 point at next week's meeting.
A fraternity at NC State may be no more. Delta Sigma Phi received a 20-day notice to move everybody out. WRAL's Sean Gallagher found out why the university took this step and what the fraternity is doing about it.
Today's the last day of exams at NC State, but the real test begins now for members of the Delta Sigma Phi fraternity trying to find a room for next semester after getting the boot from their frat house. Changes coming for Delta Sigma Phi. Details sent to families earlier this month in an email acquired by WRAL. By December 22nd, all 27 members living there would have to be out of their frat house with no plans to return next semester. 2 student conduct cases filed against the fraternity this semester, according to the email. one in September and another in October. Conduct violations for alcohol, university policies, and housing standards after the two parties. Part of the outcome includes the university revoking the chapter's recognition. Details of what happened at those parties are being kept quiet, as are the lips of the Greek community on campus this week. None willing to talk to WRAL about these sanctions. Sanctions the Delta Sigma Phi chapter president is appealing. The university is encouraging these students to focus on their final exams and their own success while waiting for an outcome of the appeal, as the students head into a winter break with their only focus on hope for good tidings come spring. The university does close all of its buildings during winter break, so students wouldn't be able to stay in here anyway. Now, the university did offer resources to families to help them try to find housing for next semester, both in off-campus apartments and limited on-campus options. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News on NC State's campus.
A parent of one of the members tells us the appeal hearing is set for tomorrow.
All right, let's talk about the dreary week that we have had and how, gratefully, it's starting to come to an end.
You know, every single morning when you wake up this week, it's cloudy. My dog Jazzy, she usually wakes up with the sun. She's just laying in bed. It's been hard to get out of bed. Tomorrow, you're finally going to wake up and there will be some sunshine. We got full sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. You're going to need your coat. You will not need your umbrella at all tomorrow. Finally, a little dry weather mixed in, but boy, did we need the rain. A live look outside at the Natural Sciences Museum here in downtown Raleigh. It's a really nice night so far. 39 degrees and a lot colder. It feels different when you step out. A northwest wind around 14 miles per hour. So it's blustery. It's much colder out there. Make sure that you've got your coat already. You're going to need it again in the morning. The rain long gone. You're done with that. But we saw beneficial about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain. There were some localized areas that did see 2 to 3 inches of rain, though. This is over the past 72 hours. And the temperatures are crashing behind our front. 39 right now in Roxborough, 46 here in the Triangle. You got to keep in mind we had 66 earlier today for the temperature. So temperatures have fallen 20 degrees in, just about 5 hours here. A pretty significant drop in a short amount of time. And that comes with a drier feel to the air. So it just feels a lot different out. 49 in Clinton at the moment. And Clinton was at 60 just an hour or two ago. Temperatures tonight dip down to 31 in Roxborough and South Hill, 31 in Southern Pines. We are at freezing in Durham and Rocky Mount, 33 in Raleigh and Fayetteville tonight. It's going to be chilly no matter where you are when you wake up tomorrow morning. For the weekend, 53 will be the high Friday, and we see the clouds roll back in Friday. Although it may look gray outside, we are not expecting any rain on Friday. Saturday, it's partly sunny, 57, warming up a little bit for the weekend. We're at 59 Sunday. We went ahead and bumped down rain chances a bit Sunday. It's not zero, but we're going with a 20% chance for rain after looking over the latest model data on our setup for the weekend. The good news is Saturday, no rain chances. That's great news for the Durham Holiday Parade. That starts at 10 a.m., 42 degrees, and at noon it'll be around 47. We'll have lots of our WRAL family members out at the Durham Parade and the Cary Parade as well. The Cary Christmas Parade, 2 o'clock on Saturday, 53 degrees at that time. 57 by 4 o'clock. So these temperatures all around are going to be pretty mild. Could be a lot colder than that at some of these parades. So all around it looks pretty good. For your dog walk tomorrow morning, 34 degrees at 8 a.m., 44 at noon, and we're back in the low 50s for our high during the afternoon. We do quickly dip back into the 30s. By 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we're at 39 degrees. And then we dip down into the 20s after that. Now, I will say this, it's December, and we only have one night where temperatures will dip into the 20s in our forecast. 28 degrees, that'll come Thursday night into Friday morning. And then temperatures moderate a bit over the weekend. As we look ahead to next week, though, we've got 3 days in a row in the 60s. Typically this time of year, the warmer weather will come with the wetter weather. It doesn't look like a ton of rain early next week like what we saw this week, but some scattered showers, upper 60s on the horizon.
All right. Kat, you know that you and I have been trying to we're really trying to pressure Dan into getting a pet.
I wouldn't call it pressure. It's a polite nudge.
Polite nudge. Well, here's a new polite nudge, okay? Since you're considering it, maybe you are at home looking for a new pet. Durham County offers you this pig. We'll explain after the break. Make the holidays warmer and brighter for our neighbors in need during WRAL Coats for the Children. You can contribute now. Just scan the QR code on your screen to give any amount.
you can help WRAL and the Salvation Army make a real difference for local children in our community. Giving a little can, of course, help a lot. So between all these coach negotiations and sanctions and fraternities and that sort of thing, we've talked a lot about local universities tonight.
But there is other news coming out of the Research Triangle this week. We should start by mentioning today marks 235 years since the General Assembly chartered UNC. This is the cover page of the bill passed on December 11th, 1789. It opened in 1795, the first public university to open in the United States.
That's a nice thing to brag about, don't you
Yeah.
think? So over at Duke, it's another good spot. The university health system just received an anonymous $50 million gift, and this money will go to fund a state-of-the-art cancer treatment center. It's going to be focused on proton beam therapy. It's a highly precise form of radiation that can target cancer cells and save healthy tissue, which is so important.
Scientists at NC State are building the future of Christmas trees. A $7 million grant is paying for the research to make Christmas trees growing in our state more resilient to climate change. Warmer temperatures have given way to disease in some trees. NC State's lab is analyzing tree DNA to pick trees that are less at risk. Their goal is to combine genetic insights with rapid cloning to create a super tree that's both tough and beautiful.
Super tree, I like that. And we can't forget about NC Central. Today, Google announced a $1 million gift to establish an institute for AI research. And this grant's going to directly impact up to 200 students in just its first 2 years.
One last thing before we go. I want to talk about a bit of a silly kind of story out of Durham. It popped up in my inbox, and I thought, we got to talk about this.
Why not?
A pet pig going up for auction tomorrow. Here he is.
Check them out.
Someone found this little guy about a month ago and turned him over to the county. But here's the deal. Nobody claimed him. So now he's being auctioned off tomorrow at noon at the Blind Spot Animal Sanctuary. Here's the line that really caught my attention. The sheriff's office says they are taking cash only.
Oh, so bring cash. Cash only. So you got to show up with cash. This feels a little under the table for the sheriff's office.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, we're the news. We'll figure it out. Thanks for being with us tonight.
We'll see you later.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.